Yo, hold on. Stop whatever you're doing right now because T-Cheese just dropped and it is massive. Stephen Curry becomes eligible for a contract extension T-Shy Saturday, August 29th, and the entire basketball world is watching. We are talking about a 2-year max extension worth up to $136.7 million that could cement one of the greatest legacies in NBA history for the long term. And here is the wild part. Both sides want it done. The Warriors are ready to move the moment that eligibility window opens, and Curry has given zero indication that he wants to go anywhere. This is not some dragged-out soap opera. This is two sides who respect each other deeply and are fully aligned on getting a deal locked in. ESPN insiders Shams Charania and Anthony Slater have both confirmed the mutual interest is real, and that talks are fully expected to begin as soon as that Saturday clock hits. Slater said the Warriors are very open to whatever structure Curry wants, whether that is 1 year at big money or the full 2-year max, and that by the time eligibility arrives, they will sit down and decide together. That is not a team hedging. That is a franchise that knows exactly who their cornerstone is. Now here is where it gets spicy. ESPN insider Brian Windhorst has floated a controversial idea that is turning heads across the league. He is actually arguing that Curry should not sign the extension right now. His logic is that tying up $65 to $70 million per year limits what Golden State can build around their superstar. If Curry plays out this season without locking in the extension, and if Draymond Green also remains on his current 1-year deal, then both of them plus all-star wing Jimmy Butler would hit the open market simultaneously next summer, giving the Warriors a historic amount of cap flexibility to potentially land 1 or 2 franchise-altering stars and then bring Curry back on a modified deal. It is a bold idea, it is risky, and most importantly, Curry himself has not signed off on it. From everything we are hearing, the man wants to stay in Golden Blue, and there is no drama about his commitment to Golden State. But the Windhorst angle raises a real question that cannot be ignored. Is locking Curry in right now at maximum dollars the smartest basketball move for a franchise that desperately needs to surround him with real championship-caliber talent before his window closes? Look at the reality here. Golden State missed on Giannis Antetokounmpo. They missed on LeBron James. Klay Thompson is gone to Miami. The roster that returns this season is essentially the same group that finished last year, with Butler and Moses Moody both expected to miss at least the first half of the season with injuries. The urgency could not be greater. Curry is 38 years old. He is in the final season of his current deal, set to earn $62.6 million for the 2026-27 campaign. He is the all-time leader in made three-pointers with over 4,200 for his career. He is a 12-time All-Star, an 11-time All-NBA selection, a 4-time champion, a 2-time MVP, and the undisputed greatest shooter in the history of the sport. The question is not whether Stephen Curry deserves this money. He absolutely does. The question is whether Golden State can afford to lock him in and still build a real contender around him in what may be the final chapter of his playing career. That is the tension right now, and it is real. Meanwhile, Golden State currently has around $50 million projected on the books after this season, which gives them meaningful cap space in the 2027 offseason regardless of what happens with the Curry extension. So the future is not hopeless. But right now, the clock is ticking. Saturday, August 29th is almost here. Stephen Curry and the Warriors are about to sit down and make a decision that could define the final years of the greatest era in franchise history. And we are going to be right here covering every single detail the moment it drops. Is Stephen Curry signing the max extension this Saturday the RGHT move for the Warriors? TYP Oni for yes, lock him up now. TYPW if you think he should wait and give Golden State cap flexibility next summer. Drop it in the comments right now. Okay people, let us take a moment here because what the Warriors just announced is beautiful and it hit a lot of fans right in the heart. The Golden State Warriors have officially revealed that they will wear a commemorative band on their jerseys throughout the entire 2026-27 season to honor the late legendary head coach Don Nelson. The band will be stitched onto the upper left shoulder of all Warriors uniforms and will simply read Nelly, which was Nelson's beloved nickname that echoed through every gym he ever coached in. This is the franchise doing it right. Don Nelson passed away on August 9th at the age of 86, and the NBA lost one of its most creative, most influential, and most genuinely beloved coaching minds in the history of the sport. Nelson coached the Golden State Warriors for 11 seasons across 2 separate stints, first from 1988 to 1995, and then again from 2006 to 2010. In his time with the franchise, he compiled a 422 and 443 regular season record and led the team to the playoffs on 5 occasions. But those raw numbers do not even begin to capture what Nelson meant to basketball in the Bay Area. His first run with Golden State in the early 1990s gave the world Run TMC, the electrifying trio of Tim Hardaway, Chris Mullin, and Mitch Richmond, all 3 of whom are now in the Hall of Fame. Those Warriors teams were among the most exciting and fast-paced in the entire NBA, a direct reflection of Nelson's revolutionary philosophy. And then there was the second act. When Nelson returned to Golden State for the 2006-07 season, he orchestrated one of the most iconic upsets in postseason history, leading that 8th-seed Warriors squad to a first-round victory over the Dallas Mavericks. Baron Davis, Jevon Jackson, that team lit the entire NBA world on fire and reminded everyone what Nelly Ball was truly capable of. His coaching philosophy, that small ball, positionless, fast and fearless approach that he refined and preached throughout his career, did not just influence Golden State, it influenced the entire league. The Warriors' 4 championship dynasties under Steve Kerr were built on principles that traced directly back to the foundation Nelson laid. When Nelly Ball evolved into the death lineup, when the Warriors started playing small and stretching defenses beyond what anyone thought possible, the basketball world was watching the grown-up version of what Don Nelson spent decades building. He was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 2012, 2 years after stepping away from coaching, having compiled 335 career victories as a head coach, a record at the time he retired and one that still ranks among the highest in NBA history. And as a player, Nelson won 5 championships with the Boston Celtics before transitioning into the most influential coaching career of his generation. Wearing the Nelly band on their jerseys is the Warriors saying thank you in the most public and sustained way possible. Every game this season, every broadcast, every photo, every highlight, that name will be there. The Portland Trail Blazers and Sacramento Kings are doing something similar to Honor Hall of Fame coach Rick Adelman, but for Golden State, this tribute carries a specific weight. Nelson did not just coach the Warriors. He shaped their identity at the cellular level. The 2026-27 season opens on the road against the Los Angeles Lakers on October 21st, and when the Warriors step onto that floor for the first time, every player on that roster will carry a piece of basketball history on their shoulder. That is not just a tribute, that is legacy made visible. Rest easy, Nelly. The Warriors have got you. If you are new to this channel and you want the hottest Warriors content every single day, hit that subscribe button right now. It is free and it takes 2 seconds. Stay right here because the next story coming up involves Draymond Green sending the most hilarious and perfectly timed message you will hear all week. You do not want to miss this. Okay, you know Draymond Green cannot help himself, and honestly we are all better for it. Because when news broke that former Warriors legend Klay Thompson had agreed to a buyout with the Dallas Mavericks and was headed to the Miami Heat, Draymond did what Draymond always does. He went straight to Instagram and posted an absolute gem. He called Klay a South Beach killer and then told him he better buy a new boat to fit the 3-5 aesthetic. And if you know Klay Thompson, you know exactly why that joke lands so perfectly. During his entire time playing for the Golden State Warriors, Klay Thompson famously commuted to home games by boat. Not a little dying either. He would sail across the San Francisco Bay in a 37-foot Axopar 37 cabin vessel that he personally nicknamed the Nordic Knife. That boat became part of Warriors folklore. It was pure Klay, completely unique, totally unbothered, doing things his way. And now Draymond is telling him that the South Beach lifestyle might require a significant upgrade to that watercraft. The joke is funny, but the real story underneath it is actually fascinating and layered, because this Klay to Miami move is a massive development for the entire NBA landscape, and it directly affects how the rest of the basketball world views Golden State right now. Thompson, 36 years old and a 5-time All-Star, agreed to a 2-year deal worth roughly $13 million with a player option on year 2. The Heat had been chasing him for weeks, and their patience paid off. Miami now has Giannis Antetokounmpo, Bam Adebayo, and Klay Thompson all on the same roster. That is a scary combination. Since acquiring Giannis, the Heat had been struggling with perimeter shooting in a serious way. Their 3-point attempts per game were not even ranking in the NBA's top 10 last season. Klay Thompson, who is one of the greatest shooters in the history of basketball, changes that equation immediately. He is expected to slot in as the perimeter weapon alongside Giannis and Adebayo in a role similar to what Ray Allen played for the Miami Heat championship teams of the past, and Thompson himself has embraced the challenge publicly. When he met with local media at Kaseya Center for the first time, he said he knows it is a demanding atmosphere and that the competitiveness of Heat culture was exactly what attracted him. Now here is the twist that adds extra drama to this whole story. The Warriors themselves had been linked to a potential Klay reunion earlier this offseason. Thompson had reportedly expressed genuine interest in finishing his career back in the Bay alongside Stephen Curry and Draymond Green. But as the offseason dragged on, Miami emerged as the clear frontrunner and Golden State fell down the list. Klay is not coming home, he is going to South Beach. And while Draymond is playing it cool with jokes on Instagram, you know deep down that there is some real emotion attached to this. Green said on his own podcast back when Klay first left that he shed tears over the end of their run as teammates. He said it changed nothing between them as people, and you can see that warmth in the way he publicly welcomed Klay to his new home, even if it came packaged in a boat joke. The dynamic between these three, Stephen, Draymond, and Klay, is one of the most compelling relationship stories in modern NBA history. They built 4 championships together, they changed the game, and now they are watching each other from opposite coasts, rooting each other on in ways that are equal parts love and pure competitive fire. The question is whether Klay can still bring it at 36 in a role that demands shooting, spacing, and culture buy-in. Heat culture is not a joke. It is real, it is intense, and it chews up players who are not ready for it. Draymond's comment about the 305 aesthetic is funny, but embedded in that joke is a genuine question. Can Klay Thompson thrive in that environment? We are about to find out. This one is not about a trade or a contract, it is about greatness being put on a giant screen for the entire world to witness. Stephen Curry just dropped a massive personal announcement. He revealed that a brand new documentary called Portrait of an Artist, Stephen Curry will debut exclusively in IMAX theaters this October, right at the start of the 2026-27 NBA season. And when you hear what this film is actually about, you will understand immediately why this is such a significant moment. The documentary follows the journey to Curry's 4,000th career three-pointer, the most historic shooting milestone in the history of professional basketball. Let that number sit with you for a second. 4,000 made three-pointers. No one else has ever done it. No one else has even come close. Curry became the first NBA player ever to reach that milestone on March 13, 2025, drilling one down from the right wing in a 130-24 win over Sacramento, arriving one single day before his 37th birthday. He had already shattered Ray Allen's previous record of 9-73 made threes back in December 2021, and from that moment it took another 1-0-26 makes across 221 games to get to the 4,000 mark. That is not a hot streak. That is sustained, relentless, historically unprecedented greatness compounded over years. And it is not just the number that makes this documentary compelling. It is what the film promises to explore beneath the surface. The project goes deep into the creativity, discipline, and repetition that built the shooting craft that literally changed the way basketball is played on every level, from the NBA all the way down to middle school playgrounds. Curry himself posted about the project on Instagram and described it as a documentary that captures the journey to his 4,000th career three-pointer. He added that the film was something the team had been working on and that they were pumped to finally share it with the world. The documentary was directed by Gautam Chopra, one of the most respected sports documentarians working today, and produced by Religion of Sports, IMAX, NBA Entertainment, and Curry's own production company Unanimous Media. Chopra and Curry have history together. Religion of Sports previously produced Stephen vs. The Game, another documentary centered on Curry's journey, so this creative partnership is well established and the trust between filmmaker and subject runs deep. This time, though, the natural endpoint of the 4003 gives the story a specific narrative gravity that a conventional athlete doc rarely has. It is not a career retrospective. It is the story of chasing one particular monument of human achievement through years of obsessive preparation, repetition, and creative problem solving. And the timing of the IMAX release right as the new season tips off is perfect. Think about it. Curry is 38 years old. He is in what may be the final stretch of his playing career. The contract extension conversation is happening right now. The Warriors need him to carry this franchise through a difficult season while they try to build something around him. And right in the middle of all that real-life basketball drama, audiences will be able to sit in a massive theater and watch a film that explains exactly how a kid who was told he was too small and too slow became the greatest shooter who ever lived. Curry currently holds the all-time record for made three-pointers with over 4,200 and counting. He has led the league in three-pointers made in 8 different seasons, including a staggering 402 in the 2015-16 campaign, a number that still makes opposing coaches physically uncomfortable to think about. He is a 12-time All-Star, a 4-time champion, a 2-time MVP, and a member of the NBA's 75th anniversary team. His legacy is already fully and completely cemented. But Portrait of an Artist promises to show us the part we never really got to see, the obsessive daily work, the countless repetitions, the mental architecture behind the magic. That is a film every basketball fan owes it to themselves to see in IMAX this October. Are you more excited about the Portrait of an Artist documentary dropping in IMAX, or are you more focused on whether Stephen Curry locks in that contract extension this Saturday? Drop your answer in the comments right now. We want to hear from you. Alright, here we go with the roster news because this directly impacts what the Warriors will actually look like when the season tips off on October 21st against the Los Angeles Lakers. Golden State officially completed their 15-man roster by signing 2 players on Tuesday. Veteran power forward Georges Niang on a 1-year deal worth $3.9 million, and backup point guard Brandon Williams on a 1-year minimum contract worth $2.6 million. These are the first two external free agent signings Golden State has made this entire summer. Yes, you read that correctly. In one of the quietest off-seasons in recent Warriors memory, a summer where the franchise swung and missed on Giannis Antetokounmpo, LeBron James, Jaylen Brown, and multiple other high-profile targets, Niang and Williams are the only new faces coming in from outside the organization. Now, the immediate reaction in the media and from fans has been mixed, to put it charitably. Radio host Mark Willard from 95.7 The Game said publicly that these are, quote, not overly exciting names, and honestly, he is not wrong. But let us give both of these signings a fair and honest evaluation because context matters a lot here. Start with Georges Niang, the 33-year-old power forward who is a career 40% shooter from three-point range over 11 seasons in the NBA. That shooting number is genuinely elite. Niang has historically been one of the most reliable stretch four profiles in the league, and the Warriors absolutely needed that. Their frontcourt depth was thin, and having a player who can step out and knock down open threes next to Draymond Green and Kristaps Porzingis is a real asset. But here is the major concern that cannot be glossed over. Niang missed the entire 2025-26 season after fracturing his left foot in September. He has not played a competitive NBA game in over a year. Court rust is a real thing, especially for a player whose value is so heavily tied to his shooting touch and his ability to maintain spacing at the right moments. Before the injury, Niang had been one of the most durable players in the game, appearing in 72, 76, 78, 82, and 79 games across 5 consecutive seasons, and averaging 12.1 points per game in his last healthy campaign with Atlanta. If he is healthy and that touch comes back, this is a solid low-risk, high-reward signing. The question mark is enormous. Now for Brandon Williams, the 26-year-old guard who spent last season with the Dallas Mavericks and averaged 13 points, 3.9 assists, and 22.2 minutes per night across 66 games. Williams was widely considered the best remaining point guard available in free agency at this stage of the offseason, and for the minimum contract, that is undeniable value. He is young, he can score in a variety of ways, and he gives Steve Kerr a legitimate backup option behind Stephen Curry, who can actually generate offense. The fit questions are real though. At 6'1", Williams is a defensive liability, which is not ideal for a Warriors team already thin on wing defense, with Jimmy Butler and Moses Moody expected to miss significant time to start the season. And there are reports that Williams can be prone to over-dribbling, which will drive Kerr absolutely wild if it shows up in games. The bigger picture here is that these signings do nothing to change the fundamental calculus of where this Warriors team sits heading into 2026-27. They needed star power, they did not get it. But at the minimum and near minimum price points, Niang and Williams are perfectly acceptable depth pieces for a franchise that is clearly planning to be more active at the trade deadline in February. GM Mike Dunleavy has publicly stated his confidence in the team's assets and cap position to make moves as the season develops. Golden State's opening night roster now features Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, Brandon Podziemski, rookie Axel Lendeborg, Georges Niang, Brandon Williams, and two-way players LJ Cryer and Lajay Jones. This is a team being built around flexibility and the hope that a midseason move can elevate them into legitimate contention. The foundation is Curry, and it always will be. Before you click away, check out the video on the left and the video on the right. Both of them are packed with Warriors content you absolutely do not want to sleep on. Pick one and keep watching. Today on Warriors Today, we covered 5 massive stories. Stephen Curry becomes extension eligible this Saturday for up to $136.7 million, and both sides are ready to talk. The Warriors unveiled a Nelly jersey band to honor the late legendary coach Don Nelson all season long. Draymond Green had the perfect reaction to Klay Thompson signing with the Miami Heat and their new Giannis Antetokounmpo squad. Stephen Curry announced his I'm on X documentary portrait of an artist dropping in October around the history of his 4,000th career three-pointer. And the Warriors officially completed their 15-man roster by signing Georges Niang and Brandon Williams. That is your day in Warriors news. We will see you tomorrow. Stay locked in.